Hey everyone, I am Yvette Lloyd. Thank you for coming right back onto my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about liability taxes. A lot of times people don't know how important it is to manage liability taxes, and they don't know what they're getting themselves into when it comes to that. That was me. I did not know a liability of taxes was going to be so expensive, especially when you end up growing and you want a bigger center. I go from me having a family at home daycare, which I still have today, and then I went on and got a bigger center, which held about 100 kids within that center. And then you have a lot more staff that you manage as well. And that staff, that was about 25 to 30 staff. And you got them coming in and out constantly. So I just wanted to give you a little breakdown and some advice on how to actually manage your liability taxes. So, first and foremost, I want you to know that your liability taxes is pertaining to your payroll. So, when you pay in staff either weekly or bi weekly, you have taxes that come out. A lot of people don't be knowing too much about how taxes work. They think you have to pay it like at the end of the year, middle of the year, or some people believe that you don't have to pay at all. Why? I don't know. That's something personal. But okay, y'all, let's get to it. We're getting ready to talk about the payroll taxes. Payroll taxes, of course, we know if staff getting paid weekly or bi-weekly, first and foremost, we have their gross. Their gross comes from what they make as far as a hourly pay. So with their hourly pay, you add up the hours that they worked for that week or the 2 weeks on whatever you choose to how to pay your staff. I don't have no recommendations as far as if you want to pay them every week or every other week. Is really based upon what you make at your center and what you feel comfortable with as far as that portion of it. And you won't know until you actually get started and how you just manage your money and everything. However, I can say I love biweekly better. Um, it don't give you so much of a stressful reaction because you don't know how your numbers will be at your daycare center, and you just don't know. You don't know certain things until it actually occur and you really know how to manage it. So we do have the gross, and then we also have the federal taxes. The federal taxes come out of their check as well. Social Security come out their check as well. Medicare also comes out they check. Then you have state, and then you have local taxes as well. So all of those taxes come out of your staff's check, and that's when they end up coming up with their net pay. However, this is ongoing. Of course, we're paying our staff constantly all the time. I mean, all the time. So we have responsibilities on our end. Even though those taxes are coming out, yes, it will show up on their W 2s at the end of the year when we give it to them. But we have business on our end when it comes to those in particular taxes that do come out of those staff's check. And then we have the 941, which is the taxes as far as the federal. Then we have the IT 501, and then that's the city taxes. And then we have the state unemployment taxes. And then we have city withholding and workers' compensation. And let's not forget unemployment. So when we paying all of this, it gets extremely, I mean, extremely expensive. And it could range in between like literally anything. And you would have no clue that you were actually spending that much money on the weekly basis. Um, on a quarterly basis. I'm sorry, the quarterly basis. So you have first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. So during those quarters, you are paying out your money as far as paying the taxes on it. It could range between $500 to $8,000. It's a huge range, but it's really dependent on the number of staff you have. I'm going to give you an example. Um, I had about 25 staff, so my first quarter of my federal taxes that I had to pay was probably ranging between probably like $8,000 maybe. So I had to pay that quarterly. Um, my city taxes, it will range between $400, $500, and then the state unemployment, it ranged between um about $1,000 to $2,000, and then you have the city withholding, which mines range from $900 to $1,000, and that stuff add up. So that in counting right there, that's about $11,000 alone that I would have to pay, and then you have the annual forms as well. My suggestion to you for dealing with these different types of taxes is make sure that you have a great accountant. I will say have more than one, because one can notice certain things and one can notice another thing. We got some CPAs and accountants. They specialize in different things when it comes to the IRS. Some of them have relationships already with the IRS. Make sure the person that you have those relationships with them and those connections to actually know what to do and not to do, just in case you may get in a bond as far as when it comes to you paying your taxes, paying it on time, or giving you an extension on certain things. But my suggestion to you is always stay on point with your taxes no matter what, because it could become a mess and you could get liens and everything, and you don't want to do that. You have to make sure that you don't put yourself in that predicament and always pay when you need to pay. Um, Another thing is, my suggestion to you is pay on your taxes weekly. A lot of people do not do it weekly, or they don't do it bi-weekly. I will suggest you to do it weekly because you're already getting money coming in weekly. And also right behind that, when that quarterly come, you won't see a huge bill that say, oh, you gotta pay $11,000 after these 3 months so that you could um get caught up with your taxes. You'd be like, oh my God, like it's literally draining. When I first saw my first quarter, when I first got my big daycare center, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to do payroll. Oh my God, y'all. I'm telling you, I wanted to cry. I wanted to just run. I just went home and sipped me some wine, like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But what I learned is to put less stress on myself. And when I was paying it weekly, it felt so good to actually see, like, okay, I'm doing this. And then my other suggestion to you is really no rush at paying it, in a sense, just long as you paid it for that year. Um, when you can narrow down everything, I will pay the least amount first. Like, for instance, if your city taxes is $500, pay that 500 first. Then your other one may be 800. Pay the 800 next. Like, pay the lowest first and then work your way up so you can pay on the highest one, which is the federal, which the federal is like literally always high. So I will just pay the least first and then work my way up. And it'll make it so much easier for you. And you can keep track of everything that way. If you haven't able to be deposited out of your account, strictly out of your account, I suggest you to do that as well. However, another suggestion to you is you have a payroll account for your staff, also have a savings account for your business as well, also have a taxes account where your taxes is going to come out. You have to keep these things separate so you will know how to micromanage your money, so you know what's coming and going and what you need to put in and out of certain accounts so that things could be managed properly, and it helps you feel so much structured and organized when it comes to you paying these taxes, because a lot of people, they make so much that could be nothing. And I don't want y'all to stress yourself out. I really don't, because I did it for you already, because I was stressed. Like, I was literally stressed, and it was a lot of work that I had to put in. And I didn't have anybody mentoring me. I didn't have no one telling me what I need to do, what I can't do. This was all new and to me. I'm the first generation of my family to even achieve any type of goal like this. So don't feel alone when you think you're alone, because you're not alone. You ain't now, because you got me. But let's get to it. As I was saying, just make sure you have everything separate at all times. But even though it's a lot, we're going to make it as easy as possible so you won't feel so overwhelmed. Um, also, it's another thing that I'm going to mention in another aspect in another video is a lot of people use the same LLC for every new center that they open up. Do not do that. Even the LLC, incorporated, however you file for your business to get your EIN and everything, do everything separate. I will go more into that in another video, but a lot of people use the same EIN number and the same incorporated S Corp business name for everyone, when you shouldn't do that. And that's for the purposes of you. If someone tries to sue your daycare center, they won't sue the other center. Everything won't tie together, and they won't take everything from you, even if they try to. It's separate. That has nothing to do with this center. It only has something to do with that one. But I'm going to get more into that later. But make sure you guys get a CPA. Make sure you get a accountant. Make sure you have different bank accounts. You have to have a savings. You have to have also a checking account for your staff. You have to have another checking account just for your taxes. So please remember to do this, y'all, because it is needed. And I don't need them folks coming after y'all. We got to keep the IRS out our business as much as possible and handle our business on our end. Just keep it in good graces with them, because they will come for you. So just make sure you stay structured and organized enough. I do have a recommendation. I used to use this app. It was called Time Station. You could also use it on your computer as well. A lot of my staff clocked in and out of that. I liked it because it wasn't expensive at all. I love Time Station. They add up their hours. It see how many hours they worked that day. It did everything for you. But they have other Time Station time clocks and things that you could get from Staples or places that sell those things. Just make sure you have a time clock that is like extremely organized and detailed, so it can accumulate less work for you, and you can send the information over to your accountant, whomever that takes care of your payroll, which is very, very important. So I don't want to bombard y'all with too much. I will continue on with this topic throughout each and one of my videos, because a lot of people aren't aware of these things when they go into the daycare business. Not only you can do payroll as well. When it comes to you having an in-home center, you can have payroll with your center as well. So payroll don't have no restrictions of who and what. Just make sure you keep everything documented. Document everything when you have staff coming and going, because you always want to hold on to all of that information possible. And also, I do have a great message for y'all. Please understand Do not spend the money you are making on your personal needs. Only use the money that you're making with your daycare center on your daycare center. Do not go and splurge because you see so much money coming in. Don't do that because you never know about a rainy day and no slow moments, because a lot of times enrollment can go up and enrollment can go down, and you never know, especially if you live in a place where it snows a lot, rains a lot, do things. People won't bring their kids to daycare. They won't. People will unenroll them and enroll them somewhere else. They just do it. So make sure you don't go crazy as far as spending your money on your personal needs, because you're going to need it, because those slow months, they ain't no joke. You barely surviving. Then you want to cut hours for staff, and you got to do a lot during that time, which that's another video also. But however, just please, please, please do not spend your money. At least, like, just save it. Like, literally save it, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it really bad in so many ways. You have no idea, because like I said, business go up and down constantly. You never know that moment when it'll come. You see how pandemic came out of nowhere. So we just really have to be be mindful of the needs that need to be met with your business, and make sure your business money stay within your business and not personal. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this. I hope you gained plenty of information. Just please comment below. I do respond to comments. I may not be quick enough, but I will comment on time. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Peace.